Welcome back to another video, and this is part 2 of the Start to Finish series. And in this video, I will be giving you 4 tips of starting anything like a boss. By the end of this video, you will be feeling way more confident and knowing that you will be able to start anything you want to do in your life, and you're going to be ready to kill the game. Back, and it's great seeing you again. My name is Mark, and I'm here to take you on a journey. So if you have seen part 1 of this series, which means what does it mean to start and how are you going to start, it's all about taking the leap. As many people may have heard the famous phrase, taking a leap of faith. You have taken this leap and you're beginning something new. You're now getting into it, your new sport, a document, a project, or even a relationship with someone, you know? So let's stick to sports as a very simple form of example. So here are the 4 tips in which you can be able to keep going, knowing that you started in an awesome way. Number 1, and this is very important, accept you're a beginner. This may sound very counterintuitive at first to some people, and maybe you'd be wondering, well, duh, obviously I'm a beginner. And I would say exactly right. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a beginner. Plus, that's the reality. If you're new to something for the first time, you are a beginner. There is no one on this planet that was not a novice at some point. If you think about it, every single person is born as a baby, right? And when you're a baby, you're not able to skim the waves like a surfing pro, you know? You don't see newborn babies surfing the waves like freaking pros one day after being born. That would be pretty cool though. I mean, imagine like, you know, a 2-day-old baby, you know, just like on a cute little surfboard, and they're literally skimming like a 10-meter high wave. Dude, he would kill it. Competition over. But realistically, you know, even the biggest, most successful business owners, billionaires, surfing pros, you know, miracle babies, surfing babies, basketball players, even YouTubers. I mean, look at me, for example. This is still one of my first videos, and I'm a beginner. Like, even I myself am new to all this, and I'm still in the first phases of getting used to, you know, doing the setup, communicate better, getting used to doing this kind of thing. Talking to you. I'm a beginner. I'm still new to all this. So very, very important, as obvious as it sounds, learn to accept that when you do something new, you are a beginner. You release this pressure. You do not feel all this, you know, you release a lot of burden on your shoulders, you know, saying, hey, you know, that's okay. I mean, we all start from somewhere. So you'll get there. The fact that you started is already showing that you're about to get better. Which leads me to tip number 2. Focus on the fundamentals. Focus on the basic fundamentals, which are essential to the craft, to the sport, to the business, to anything that you're doing. Because what builds a system? What builds a skill? What builds anything that we have in life? You know, even our bodies, you know, every single thing has its base. Do you think a building will be able to stand stable without a very strong base? You know, you have the baseline with the basic building materials, and there was a term for it. You know, when you have the part of the building of a skyscraper, for example, and it's lodged into the ground. And I'm not a construction engineer, so these are terms that you can inspire me with. If you know exactly what I'm talking about, which I could research later, let me know. Any person or system is supposed to have a good base. So without the basic fundamentals, without really understanding and gaining the grasp of these fundamentals, you will not be progressing as well as you can be. Let's take, for example, dancing. One of my favorite things to do since I finished high school and started, my first, junior grade in college was social dancing, in ballroom dancing, Latino style. One of the guys I have seen dancing there became a favorite for so many people. Why is that? Do you want to guess what he did that made him so freaking awesome that everyone wanted to dance with him? Think about it. Did you think he was a pro trickster, twisting his partners, flipping them in the air and doing donuts and like pizza dough stuff? Because there are some people who do that. There are some dancers I've seen who are also instructors, and they are so advanced that they're able, to swing their partners in and out, like on between their legs, over their heads, flip them around, twist them like this, throw over shoulder, and land them like a stud, So, of course, that's impressive, and if you're able to pull that off very well, a lot of people will admire you for just how awesome of a dancer you are. But those are things you learn at a much more advanced level. And I myself haven't learned, to flip my partner up like a pancake yet. So, baby steps. But that guy that I first mentioned, do you think he became a favorite for so many people by doing tricks like that? Actually, it was the exact opposite. He did not pull anything. He did not even spin his partner. He did not even spin the girl that he was dancing with. Every single time that he went on the dance floor and invited someone to dance with him, he would stick 99% of the time to the same things, which were the most basic, simple steps. He would, hold his partner very properly with very good posture, and he would stand in his place, doing the steps slowly. This is how you do kizomba, by the way. Like, you hold your partner close, and a lot of the movement is in the hips. So this is not a kizomba class, though. You're gonna have to pay me for that. So he was just there, standing and chilling, taking his time, really getting into the steps, and he was feeling those steps. And those were the most simple basics that you learn in your first two classes. The whole point is that he was sticking to the fundamentals of the dance. And he did it so well, he did them so well, that his partners were blown away and a lot of them wanted to dance with him again. They were saying it felt so fucking good just the way he was leading me. You know? I felt safe, I felt grounded, I felt like I was enjoying the moment, you know, as he was just like moving me back and forth, side to side, step up, step down. Simple. Sticking to the fundamentals and really learning them properly can go a long way. Some of the greatest athletes I've heard of, such as you may have heard of Tom Brady, you know, and he is known as one of the best quarterbacks in American football history. But why is that? One of my favorite life coaches talks about in his videos about, you know, what Tom Brady does. And almost every single day, if not every single day, he focuses on practicing again and again the fundamentals of the sport. You know, going back through the playbook, you know, just the basics. But he goes through them over and over and over again, making sure that he's always sticking to the best of his game. And then, you know, you can start building up on other skills. So what I recommend from this tip is keep focusing on the basics, even as you are acquiring and gaining new skills. That way it keeps you in check and you're able to really have a strong baseline when you are improving your skills. Which leads me to tip number 3. Repetition is the mother of skill. It's all about practice. You may have heard this a shit ton of times, especially, you know, through other YouTubers, coaches, you know, whenever you're doing other sports or even writing. Like, practice makes perfect, obviously. But why is that? Because when you repeat something over and over again, it becomes a habit. And by making it a habit, you are creating a neural pathway in your central nervous system that begins to solidify, and that way it becomes more automatic. Eventually it feels natural, like breathing. So just like in the example of Tom Brady, who's focusing and practicing every single day, you know, that is repetition every single day. He even has a I even learned about one of his I even learned about a commercial that he did. It's a commercial for Under Armour, and that was something one of my favorite life coaches and mentors talked about. He said that how in this video, which is a very short, very simple commercial, you know, of Under Armour, where you see him repeating the same thing over and over again and multiplying, you know, saying every single day. Every single day. Another one of my favorite YouTubers who talks about similar things that I'm talking about now. How did he become so famous and popular in a short period of time? He committed to doing one video a day, every single day. Now that does not mean that you have to do that same thing every day, you know, especially if you're a beginner or when you have other things you're interested in. But I would highly recommend that if you want to get really good at it, practice and repeat it as often as you like, you know? And the more often you do it, the better you will feel at it, and then it becomes more natural. My mother, as well as my grandfather, who is her father. So my grandfather from my mother's side would tell us this phrase that he really likes to use. À force de forger, on devient forgeron. C'est en français, ça va putain, pourquoi pas, hein? À force de forger, on devient forgeron. This is a French saying which literally translates to, by forcing yourself to forge, by forcing the forge, you become a forger. And a forger is a blacksmith. So if you know the term to forge or the forge is the heated workshop area where a blacksmith creates weapons, especially, you know, like in medieval times. So by using the forge over and over again, you become a blacksmith. That's what the saying says. You don't become a blacksmith first and then you're able to forge. You start by forging and doing it over and over again to become a blacksmith. However, a very important mindset to adopt, which I will address in another video, is don't limit yourself to thinking, I will not become a blacksmith until I, blacksmith a shit ton of times to become a blacksmith. It's just like, being a YouTuber or being a photographer, Again, I'm going to elaborate on this more in another video, but I would like to say as a very quick note, instead of saying, I will not become a YouTuber until I have 1 million views and all this stuff. No, I'm giving myself as an example. Obviously, this is one of my first videos and I'm only getting like a couple few people watching at the moment. By the time you're seeing this, who knows? This video could have been out for a couple of months, a couple of years, and things could be really different right now. But when I'm filming this, talking to you, this is the beginning. And starting off a martial art as well is a very important example on how you're feeling as you're a beginner. You could start something like kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and of course, you will be learning some of the basic fundamentals, like how you hold your hands up, how you tighten your fists, how you curl your fists, and you actually properly jab, do some hooks, uppercuts, before getting into the legs. But if you're doing something like kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and so on, you're gonna see others who have already been doing this for months, even years. There's many people who have already gone really far ahead in the game of martial arts. And you have just started off on your first couple days. Does this mean that you are way behind all these people? Just see it as a knowledge gap. Just tell yourself, okay, I am not a fucking loser for being a pure beginner, which again goes back to tip number 1, accept that you're a beginner. And so instead of feeling bad, that that you're still so far behind from all these people who are experienced, think about it. Every single one of these fighters has been in your position. Every single one of them was just like you, a beginner, a novice. They all start from somewhere. So what truly matters is what you do about it. And a proper way that definitely helps you feel more confident, knowing that you can reach a higher level, is by taking all these 4 tips together. You accept that you're a beginner, which helps you begin from where you are and start focusing on those basics. As you build on the basics, you repeat them, you practice them, and this is how you get better and better and better. And each time you hit a milestone, even if it's your first class, your first punch, your first kick, your first paddle, your first score in the hoop, your first dancing steps, pat yourself on the back, you know? Be proud of yourself and just appreciate that you are capable of doing these new things. How do you think I'm sitting here talking, to you like this? How do you think I became a diver and just recently got my diver's license earlier this year? How do you think I've reached intermediate level in dance classes? I could go on. The list goes on with all different kinds of activities I've been getting myself more into lately. But this is not a list to brag. These are just concepts to let you know that it never hurts to start and try something new. To do something new. And eventually you will figure out what works for you. So with that being said, take these 4 tips and get started like a boss. I'll see you around. Peace out.